Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Cancer. If Cancer is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so this is a bonus reading for Cancer. And our card is the Two of Cups. So we are definitely in a very kind of lovey place. Now it doesn't have to be romantic, right? Sometimes this is really a sense of things coming together, right? A union, things kind of clicking into place, finding a beautiful balance and enjoying. So let's take a look and see what the tea leaves have to say. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell and it's going to let you know when the next readings come out. It is free to subscribe. So immediately I'm seeing we have a large bowl right here. So I really feel like off the bat there's an energy of maybe a Taurus person in your life. And I almost feel like this is maybe a... I almost feel like this is maybe a friend. Somebody you grew up with. Now I'm seeing that we have, it almost looks like a child next to this bowl. And I almost wonder if you were a little bit younger or if this is somebody who quite literally like was larger in stature. They grew up faster than everybody else. They were the tallest kid in the class, that kind of thing. But I feel like there is a lasting bond here. I don't know if they're in your life all the time, right? I don't know if this is somebody you see often. Maybe this is that you are like kind of linked up through social media. You kind of see their life from afar. But I do feel like there is this sense of just a deep kinship here. It's always easy when you come in contact. Like if you run into them at like the grocery store or, you know, something like this, a friend's kind of meetup or whatever it is. And I feel like in this next period of time, there's almost a sense of being kind of put into a situation where there's the opportunity to go deeper into this friendship, to kind of renew that connection. And so, yeah, I kind of feel like this is maybe something that would be somewhat beneficial to you, having somebody in your life that feels kind of new, but has a history with you. Right? You know each other. You've seen each other kind of grow over the years, seen each other's lives kind of change and go through different seasons. And so to have somebody like that who it's not difficult to get along with, really maybe feels quite grounding. Okay? So this feels like a really kind of a happy and sentimental change, right? Or shift in your life. At least there is the opportunity for it, right? Now maybe this isn't something that you actually have time for or the motivation to kind of engage in kind of newer relationships or getting to know somebody again or whatever. But, you know, I think that sometimes we have to kind of put ourselves outside of that. It's not even a comfort zone. It's just kind of like, I'm exhausted. I don't really know that I have time for another person. But I feel that there is kind of that pull. So maybe it will be worthwhile. You know, maybe the good outweighs the tiresome, if that makes sense. All right, now let's see. We're going to keep going here. Okay, so we have a person with a dog. We also have a bird. It looks like a beautiful and fancy bird. Like, I saw that there are some kinds of, are they pigeons? I think they're pigeons. And they have these pretty, they're fancy pigeons. They have these pretty little feathers that come out of the top of their head. And so they kind of almost remind me of something like a, not a pheasant. Is it a pheasant? Like a pheasant or, what is the other one? I can't even think of it. Like a pheasant maybe. Or a peacock, right? With the little kind of, they have those cool little hat looking things going on. So a beautiful bird of peace, but it is kind of glorified, right? Ornate and gorgeous and maybe a little ostentatious, a little showy. Now I feel that we also have a little deer there, a young deer. I'm looking. I feel that there is a sense of, with the dog, it's always to me, not always, but often to me, it is like the best friend, right? This is like somebody who is loyal to you and you are loyal to them. There's an unbreakable bond here. And maybe maybe it's because we're going into Cancer season, right? It's coming up. We're kind of getting on the cusp of it here pretty soon. And this maybe facilitates more interactions with people that you don't see all the time. But I do feel like there's a sense of wanting to connect with your people, your chosen friends, family, acquaintances. Not always the energy for a Cancer person, but I do feel like there's this kind of wanting to go out of your way to be around people who you care about. You want to spend some time, maybe like having a dinner and laughing and going and doing something enjoyable, reminiscing and having somebody that you can talk to, right? That feels safe, somebody who you trust. And so I feel like it's kind of like, sometimes you go through life and nobody really reaches out to you very often, right? You don't hear from anybody. They don't hear from you. You're just kind of living your day to day, doing your routine. And that's fine. It's not that there's anything wrong with that. But then suddenly, there's this continued people reaching out or you reaching out to them and you're connecting and your life is feeling busy with people and these engagements. And so I do feel like this is a time where, you're kind of getting that like social itch scratched, right? And I feel like often for Cancers, this is like a brief season and then you're back to kind of living a little more of a focused and solitary type of situation, right? Not that maybe you have a family, maybe you have people you live with, you might have a lot of friends and stuff, but you are usually pretty focused on that interior work, doing the things that you like to do, staying focused on your creative, projects or the things, your hobbies, your interests, whatever it is that's filling your life, right? So I think this is going to be a good time. I feel like, we're also going into a new season, right? We're going into summer, although it already feels like it. Today it's going to be like 90 degrees where I'm at. It's so humid. The mosquitoes are the size of like crows. I mean, they just seem huge. And every time I go outside, they follow me around. So it is. We're already in summer, basically. But yes, we're coming up to the solstice, right? Now, you might be in the southern hemisphere. in the winter, right? Wherever you're at down there, it might be pretty cold. Maybe people are, seeking some company, hanging out, making the best of like a season that is not so extremely warm or uncomfortable. And so, yes, I do. I can understand why there is this sense of connection and wanting connection and finding, your joys in being with people who know you, right? And they like to be with you. So it's kind of filling up that tank, right? That social tank, that recharging that soul battery, and enjoying yourself. Okay. So also we have that bird of peace. Yes. Yeah. Coming into a place of feeling quite peaceful. Just ease. Trying to let go of the little stuff. Letting it roll right off your back, right? And when you can get into this posture, Cancer, you are just so lovely, so charming, so much to say and share in your insights. Your Cancers are the people that you could stay up all night talking to. You have so many insights. And you don't just spend your words frivolously. You're a very thoughtful person. So I absolutely feel this kind of tranquil quality kind of laying itself over the landscape of your life. And it's a beautiful thing, a beautiful time to see you at ease. And so we also have two people with their hands kind of raised up. And so we also have the little deer here. And I feel like a lot of this is also connected to your relationship with the divine. I feel that you've been having some really clear signs. There is a sense of seeking, and I think that you are looking for inspiration or something to be kind of that open door for you. So with a Cancer, I know that you all love to kind of research, read, collect information. So I can imagine that there's this kind of looking around for like, what's the next thing I'm going to study? What's the next voice I'm going to listen to, right? Who is the next kind of, I don't know if you maybe are into certain systems or schools of thought, philosophies, or your interests are, very niche or whatever, but looking maybe for a new author, a new spiritual being, getting into a new genre or whatever it is. Looking around for that. But I also think, part of this, it is feeding into this devotion that you have, this sense of really being connected with your personal pantheon, your personal God, goddess, divinity, intelligence, your relationship to the sciences, whatever it looks like for you. It feels like this is a place that is potent for you, that interior temple. I even imagine in your home you have kind of maybe a pretty ornate or put together space for you to do your spiritual work. Maybe like a room for meditation, a library where you like to sit and read. Maybe you are somebody who makes magic in the kitchen. You have your kitchen really set up, or you're a gardener. You like to be out there in your backyard space, gardening. The thing about Cancers is that you have an eye for detail. You like things to kind of have an atmosphere, have a vibe, and you're really good at putting that together. So I can imagine there is really kind of this, if you've ever walked into a space that feels holy, right? Maybe you've walked into, like a secret grove of trees, and there's a clearing there, and you can stand upon that land and you know this is full of God. This is full of spirit. I feel the supernatural qualities of this environment. Or, one for me, when I go into like a cathedral, especially when they're giving mass, right? Especially if it's in Latin. Oh boy, that feels divine. No matter what my beliefs are, or what your God seems like or looks like or is called, it doesn't matter. There are just certain spaces that are full of grace, full of spirit. Okay, these are divine spaces. These are holy spaces. These are sacred spaces. And so I feel like this is kind of your life. This is your life. You are living a sacred life. And I think that you are actively stepped into it. You are taking part in that spiritual, it's like a river flowing through the middle of your existence, right? And I can see you there at the water's edge giving offering, prayer, grace. Just completely enamored by the cosmos. And all of this together is so beautiful. I feel there is such a, like I said, it's a tranquility. There's an ease to things. I just imagine you've been smiling more than you have in a long time. It feels like something has been lifted off your heart. There was an oppressive energy there for a while, I think. And I feel like you actively partaking in your spiritual journey has been a big motivator, but it's also been, that change that you have been needing. Getting back to those practices. It's opened a lot of space in your life. And I think this is also why you want to connect with others, because you are feeling risen. Okay, let's take a look over here. We have, it looks like a large M and maybe even a W. M-W possibly, or W-M. So maybe a name. Now again, we have the dog, we have the person. And I wonder if maybe you will be spending some time with this good friend. Or maybe this is your spouse or your long-term relationship, your partner. And you're going to be able to have some time to yourselves. Like a little reprieve from life where it's just you. Maybe you have a house full of kids or grandkids, or, work is just, so busy. Maybe you live on, different schedules or whatever. But I do feel like this is like there's a connection happening in the now, in the present. Having time to just be together and really be together. A deeper connection than there has been in a while. And I think this is most necessary. It's something that you've been wanting. It's been hard to kind of manage it, but here it is, right? Here's the opportunity, and yes, you will take advantage of it. I do. I see that connection deeply here. Now, we also have a 9, okay? So 9 seems to be an important number for you this week. Look for the 9s. Now, we also have 2 birds in flight. These look like migratory birds. Probably something like a goose, right? So there is a shifting of energies, okay? Where there has been kind of a blockage or that oppressive kind of feeling that you have had, it's been kind of lingering. I see that this is actively moving out. Okay. Now, I think a lot of it has to do with you being intentional about moving these things out of your life. A big thing that we talk about on this channel is cleansing the home, cleansing the sacred space. Now, maybe you are somebody that spends more time at work or in some other environment other than your home where you sleep. This can also be a really important place to keep tidied, organized, get everything cleaned up. All of the things sitting around, the stacks of files, whatever. If there are windows in the area that you can open, clean out the air, bring in some fresh air. I talk a lot about cleansing the home. A lot of us spend a lot of time in our workspaces. And unless you work at home, this is going to be off-site, right? It's not where you're living your domestic life. But you also have to keep that tidied, of course, but the energy's flowing through. It doesn't end at home. We spend so much of our life in our workspaces. So this could also be like if you are somebody who works in your car, right? Maybe you do deliveries or you are a long haul driver or, whatever. You're a bus driver, something. Make sure that you are clearing the energies in these spaces as well. Okay? We neglect to think of these things sometimes. I myself definitely do. I don't always think about, I need to kind of make sure all of the transient energies are off the car. But when I do, I'll tell you what, it feels much lighter. Everything feels a little bit smoother. And so, definitely getting those energies moving and having an intentional role in doing so. Also, offerings. Important that we are giving offerings where we can. This can be, volunteering our time, being of service to others. I often talk about the epidemic, really, of loneliness in not only the U.S., which obviously I'm based in the U.S., but all over the place, right? And especially in the older age group, okay? People who are elderly, people who are living alone, people who maybe have some mobility issues, maybe they're living on a fixed income, so they don't have a lot of, money to be doing different things. Maybe these are people who have ended up in like a rest home or whatever it is, right? A lot of people out there that have nobody really visiting them, nobody listening to them or talking to them. If you think about it, can you think about having this full life, busy, raising kids, being involved in your community, all of these things, and then as you age, and the people who you've known your whole life start to transition, they're passing away or they're moving away, or the circumstances of life keep everybody very busy. I think we don't prioritize being with each other that much anymore. A lot of it, I think, is because we feel like we're in each other's lives because we're on social media. I read about your life, I know what's going on from what you share, and I feel like we've talked even though we haven't. And I don't necessarily think to go see you, right? And that carries over into other relationships, even the ones where people are online. A lot of older people not online, or they're not posting, like us younger folks are. And so anyways, giving time to people around you in your life, in your family, in your community is quite an offering. Now, it's not about just giving money, right? But being with them, going and sitting and talking, asking them about themselves. How are you doing? What's going on? Tell me about what your life was like. Let me hear your stories. This is one of the ultimate offerings that we can give. It is a devotion of love, this fellowship, this kinship. So, I will always bring it up. I know, if you've been watching my readings, you're probably like, this lady, she talks about this a lot. I'm very passionate about it. For somebody that I like to be alone. Absolutely. I like to be with my husband and my daughter, and, I could live like that forever. Just us three. But I know the importance of social interactions for other people. I watch it around me, the people in my life, that are getting older. I had a great grandmother who lived to be over 100 years old, and my grandmother, who was her daughter, had Alzheimer's, and they lived with us throughout my childhood. And I remember her talking about how strange the world was, right? This was back in like the 90s, and how different it was. How she felt like she didn't know how to do anything anymore because it was all so different. But also that everybody she had known had gone. And now her daughter, was going through this terrible disease, and how it just was almost unbearable for her. Even though she had us, my great grandma, she had us. Still, the people she spent the majority of her life with, gone. And so to me, it's so dear to my heart. I think about these things a lot when I see people and meet people. And I have often lived in communities where the majority of the people are older. I like to live in rural communities, and often when the kids get to the age where they go to college and stuff, they leave, and a lot of people don't come back. So it's a lot of older people. And, more often than not, just looking for some kind of connection with another human being, So anyways, I'll stop going on about it. But, yes, a really important way for us to express our divinity, our faith, being there for one another, even in small ways, even in the how are you doing, and you actually listen. How often do people say, hey, how you doing, and you keep walking, right? And yeah, we're busy. In a lot of places, people don't even say, how are you doing? How was your day? Now, I live in the Midwest, so everybody says it. We all talk about the weather and all of that. And I love it, by the way. But, if somebody really asked you and sat there and listened and engaged with what you were saying, it might even be like, wow, I can't believe that just happened, So anyways, something to think about. All right, Cancer, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you, because I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. Now, if you'd like to leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. I know I don't get to comment back on all of them. I used to do every single one, but the channel has grown a lot in the last year, and it's hard to keep up with all of them. I do want you to know I read every single one. I remember your screen names. I remember your profile pictures. I remember the things that you say. I think, you know, there are plenty of people on this channel that I know your whole stories. I remember everything that you have written over the last months, over the last year. So I want you to know that you are seen, you are heard. I love you. And I apologize if I have not commented on one of your comments recently, or, you know, whatever at all. But I do read them, and I absolutely appreciate the interaction. I love getting to know you. I really do. So again, with that, I'll say I love you. Take care of yourself. Have a good night or day or whatever, whenever you're watching this. And we'll talk very soon.